The Steers keep on rolling. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett here on the Ground Football Show, right here on S2S Sports, part of L4 Media, as Graham gets their third shutout of the year as they take care of Lake Worth 55-0. 3 straight wins after that Springtown loss. Really good win against Decatur 2 weeks ago. Shutting out Whitesboro 3 weeks ago, and of course, as we said, beating Lake Worth 55-0. Now it's a bye time, and this will be the first time for Coach Clay McChristian as the head coach to be in the bye week, and it's a unique bye week for Graham because, as he'll talk about, y'all have been in that week 10 bye for the last few years. Now with the new district, everybody's bye this week, and so not only are you taking a break for football, but most of the coaches are completely taking a break from actually going to games on Friday because you have nobody to go scout. And we were talking about that, how that's kind of unique, and you know, every team being on bye, and what's he going to be doing on Friday this week with no football. And we're going to find all that out when we come back right here on the Ground Football Show on L4 Media. Do you have a kid that plays sports? Are you yourself a weekend warrior? Then I'm going to tell you something. Check out NeuroGuardPlus.com. That's NEURO GuardPlus.com. It's a mouthpiece that can not only help with concussions, but can dramatically affect the way you perform. And the mission of NeuroGuard is to, of course, reduce the risk of suffering a concussion when participating in any contact sport, military, anything that you're doing physical that you could take a blow to the head. You might want to put in a NeuroGuard mouth guard. And as I said, it not only helps eliminate concussions, it helps you perform better by simply aligning your jaw properly. And that sounds like such a simple thing, but it is so important because it allows oxygen to get to your brain. And when you get oxygen to the brain, you don't have that fog of sports or that fog of war where you get confused. And if you've ever played football, you know that's a sport where that can happen. Especially, man, you're in there in the trenches and you take a shot to the side and all of a sudden things are spinning. This mouth guard will help you keep focus by, again, simply keeping oxygen going to your brain 100%. Again, check them out, NeuroGuardPlus.com. And if you play sports, if you have a kid that plays sport, if you do something physical, one of the things that Dr. Hutchinson, the creator of this, was talking about was some people will use it when they're doing yard work and when they're mowing and things like that, where they're being physically active because they know it helps align their jaw and it keeps oxygen going to the brain, which also helps your lungs, by the way, when you can have full breath every time as you're performing. So again, check them out, NeuroGuardPlus.com.
Hi, I'm Josh Bell with the Miami Marlins. I wear NeuroGuard to help with strength and coordination when I'm in the weight room and help with balance when I'm on the baseball.
Terry Bennett back here on the Ground Football Show, now joined by the head coach of the Steers, Coach Clay McChristian. And, Coach, we're going to talk Lake Worth here in a second, who y'all played last week, but we didn't get to have a show last week because of issues in the studio. So let's talk about that big win against Decatur, 34-14. Man, y'all really came out and jumped on them early.
Yeah, we did. It was good. You know, they actually kind of jumped on us first. They came out right off the bat and went down the field and scored, making it 7-0. And I really was happy the way our team responded. You know, we really didn't blink an eye. Our defense, they felt fine with what was going on. We made a couple little adjustments here and there, but our offense responded, came right back and put another touchdown back up. And, you know, it really was kind of good to kind of get punched in the mouth a little bit and to see how our kids responded. And then after that, we just kind of kept it going, and it was good in all 3 phases of the game. I think we scored in all 3 phases, so it was a good win.
And when we talked about where y'all were after that Springtown loss, and then you beat Whitesboro, and now Decatur, and then, of course, Lake Worth, I joked with you when we first started talking before we started recording, man, the offense looks so much more efficient when you've got more firepower and you're getting a little healthy at key spots.
It's all about that. You know, it's when you don't have your players out there, it just makes you it makes you be something that you don't want to be or have to work on other areas. But, man, getting your guys back, that's the key. You're only going to go as far as the players you've got out there. And so getting Ryland back and getting him feeling good and feeling healthy and feeling confident again, you know, and that – with his injury was big, and you know, O-line starting to come together. Offensively, the whole scheme is starting to come together now. So it was really good, and it feels good going into the bye week.
Defensively, again, point to the Springtown game, but as we've talked about, they're way better than what people think. But defensively in the rest of the games, y'all have just been at times dominant, only giving up the 14 points to Decatur.
Yeah, I'm real happy the way we're playing defensive. We're playing fast. We're playing with a lot of confidence. Um, some of our younger kids that we kind of were struggling early on against Springtown are really starting to come into their own. A couple of the sophomores that gave up some of the big plays against Springtown now are starting to have picks now and starting to really feel themselves in the back end. And I've said before in other weeks is that's why you stick with those kids, because they're going to make mistakes early on, but they're on varsity for a reason. So those kids are starting to really feel their spot on the varsity now, and the rest of the kids, we've got good players all over the place on defense, and we're just playing fast and confident, and that's what you want defensively, is just get out there and don't think too much, just react and go fly to the football.
Well, and again, we're going to circle back to this is why you play the Springtowns and the Decaters of the world in non-district. You could have, had a few cupcakes and have a pretty record and not know where your deficiencies were. You knew early what y'all needed to clean up.
It is. That's why you make those schedules out that way. Is when you're looking for games out there, you're looking to see what's going to make your team better in the long run. And as long as everybody understands that, your record, your non-district records may not always be, flawless, but that's okay, because you want those teams that cause you to look at yourself internally and to look at your team and say, what are our mistakes? What are the areas that we need to improve on? And as long as you're looking at yourself and making those corrections, you'll be a better team after playing those teams than you were beforehand.
You hit the bye week, as you were talking before. Y'all have had the bad luck of always getting that week 10 bye the last few years. This year, you get it right in the middle of the season. This feels like the perfect spot for a bye.
Perfect time. We've dealt with a lot of injuries and sickness and all kinds of stuff the first 5 weeks. And really and truly, I think going into the bye week, we are as healthy as we were starting the season. And so now we just really get to start feeling fresh again. It's one of those things that we haven't had that feeling in a while. We've been going 10 straight. And it's nice getting that bye week before you start the playoffs, but there's something to be said for having that mid-season bye right now where everybody kind of gets to take a deep breath. If you have any little nagging injuries, you can kind of get those healed up, but really it's just getting your legs back underneath you, trying to make that push in district now and get yourself ready to go.
Well, it's funny you talk about getting fresh and such, and more talking with coaches that have byes. Used to be the theory is the bye week is when you got re-physical. You'd have a couple live scrimmages. You'd maybe even hit more. Now more and more coaches are telling me, like, no, we try not to hit it during the bye as much as we can, as long as we don't feel like we need to work on something when it comes to the physicality part of the game. You, as your first year of a head coach, are y'all more about freshening up and resting and learning, or are y'all getting physical?
We are doing the first. So we are trying to give our kids, a little bit lighter workouts. Mm-hmm. It's more mental stuff. We're going through preparation for Burke Burnett coming up, and so we're kind of getting the mental aspect going. But you talk about experience. Years ago, we played and we were playing not very well. This is probably back 12 years ago. We were not playing very well, and we decided we were going to get physical, and we were exactly what you said. We pounded on each other, and we had full speed take you to the ground, and we thought we did good, and we came out that first district game, and we looked like a team that was beat up and tired and flat, and I said, I'll never make that mistake again. And so you learn from your mistakes early on, and I think, just giving your kids a chance to really feel good and get their legs back underneath them is a lot better for you than pounding on them.
Well, and let's be honest, for you, and of course you've been a coach forever and you've been with Graham forever, but this is your first time as a head coach, and this allows you to kind of also take a breath at halfway through the season and kind of go, okay, now we're about to start forward. Let's start getting ready for district play.
It is. That's the thing is we're constantly evaluating. I'm evaluating myself, in the first 5 weeks. What are some of the good things, some of the bad things? What are some areas we need to really, look at internally and, within offense or defense or special teams? And so I'm going to be just as critical of myself and the staff as we are on those kids. Is we ask them to look at themselves and get better. As a staff, we have to look at ourselves and see what we liked, what we didn't like, and make those corrections and do those things to make sure that you're ready to go that first week of district.
Now, the thing about y'all's bye is this year everybody in the district's taking the bye on the same week, so you're not going to be scouting, or are you going to be scouting? What are you doing on a Friday that you don't have football?
Man, I am lucky enough to get to go watch our volleyball team and be an admin at that game and watch our volleyball team play this Friday night. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a big game with us and Brock. And so it's good to get that district schedule going in volleyball as well. So I'll be watching my phone, getting games, updates on that. But I'll be watching some volleyball and watching my phone, see what's going on with the few teams that are out there playing.
Now, are you some coaches, they only focus on their, high school, and then some are watching all the other football through the weekend? Are you the type that watches college and pro as well?
I watch a lot of college ball, NFL-wise, man. Unfortunately, I'm a Cowboys fan, and so
I know the feeling.
If you want to be frustrated, watch them. I'll always be a Cowboys fan. I'll watch them. When I get a chance. We work all day Sunday, and so we don't have an awful lot of time to watch them. But if I see the score and I think it's worth it, I will. If I see it and think, well, it wasn't much of a game, I won't. But I watch a lot of college games. But man, I'm a fan of football, so if it's on, I like to watch it.
Here at L4 Media, we talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. And you can see it all on our YouTube channel at L4 Media Company. Like and subscribe. Terry Bennett back here on the Graham Football Show. As always, I want to thank Coach McChristian for joining us, as he does each and every week. I do want to apologize about last week. It was one of those weird weeks, and this is the first time we've had a Graham Football Show on the network. But as you'll know, over the next few years, as we keep doing these, about once a year, there will be 1 week where just something happens. Either I get fully sick or technical issues or whatever, where shows will get shuffled around. And so last week it was unique because, we have the broadcast side of the job, but we also have to do the business side so that we're allowed to do the broadcast side. And so one of those that we can't talk about yet, but we're going to be able to talk about closer towards the end of the year, possibly at least by January. We had a great meeting, but they basically were like, hey, we need you to be cleared out Wednesday, your whole day, because we don't know when we're going to be free, and we need you to be able to be free instantly. And with certain, the bigger the company that you're trying to bring in to sponsor and advertise, the more willing you have to be able to do that. And this is a big enough company that when they said that, we said, yes, no problem. And so I had moved all of the coaches' shows to Thursday. I was going to do all 7 shows on Thursday. Well, then Thursday, I guess Wednesday night, I had some allergies or sinus, and I slept with my mouth open. I always have a fan that I keep right just on my nightstand. It's just right on me. And 9 times out of 10, it's great. But I guess maybe I slept with my mouth open with my nose congested. Well, I woke up and my throat was all swollen. But I wasn't sick. But my tonsils, I still have my tonsils, they were so swollen that whenever I talked, it gave me the sensation that I was about to gag. And so it was just no way I was going to be able to do one show as much as 7. In fact, I didn't say a physical word from the moment I woke up and realized I had that, because I've had that happen a few times before in the past. But the moment I woke up like that, I just realized, okay, I'm just not going to be able to do the shows. And I just didn't talk. And I really didn't talk all Friday going down to Columbus when we went and watched Columbus versus Belleville. So I do apologize for the shows, but we're now back on track. And we do appreciate you coming back to us. The 4A show for Sideline to Sideline is up. You can go to YouTube at L4 Media Company. Now, again, I want to say we had some more issues this week. I'm having some internet issues in the studio as far as upload. Everything else is working fine, but when I try to upload stuff, which means also recording, because the way we do our video show is we use a browser studio, which means you've got to be able to upload it, and that's where your quality comes from. And unfortunately, my upload speeds are just terrible. Luckily, I've got a tech coming out this afternoon, to look at it in between my recordings. Hopefully, we can get that fixed. But the audio is fine. It's just the video's a little pixelated. Or you can wait till tomorrow when we put up the 4A show for week 6 on the audio only side. That's at s2sgrantandterry.com. All right. It's bye week. Big volleyball game against Brock. You've got non-district in the rearview mirror. We wake up next Monday ready for district play 3-4A Division II, and it's going to be a fun district season. We'll start talking that next week right here on the Graham Football Show on S2S Sports, part of L4 Media.